Guys, it's your man Unspoken Reviews back again with another video, and there's only one question. Are y'all done talking ish yet, man? Yo, so we got the new release for the new teaser of upcoming DCU's Lanterns. And I gotta say, y'all, I said it before, you can go back and check my previous videos about this show. This is still my most anticipated element of the new DCU. Once again, it seems that we're going to get a second chance at doing the Green Lanterns here in the new DCU. And I got to say, this teaser, I definitely like the first one, but this one definitely elevates my excitement. I cannot wait to see this show. I like the idea of us passing the mantle from Hal to John Stewart, and I like the idea of the story centering around the two of them. So the teaser does start up with the two of them sitting at a bar, and I like the idea of the argument is, I think they said before that the show was about power. When is the excuse to use that power, and when is it time to pass on the mantle? And you can really see that this teaser is strong in that regard. This teaser definitely centers around not just things that are happening in the present day, but also about things happening in the past. We see a young John Stewart watching a little younger Hal Jordan, as he has just now become a Green Lantern, probably has just now exposes himself to Earth as its protector in that sector. And I like the argument that, asking how does he get that power? And he says, only one question, are you afraid? And this is definitely something that harkens back to the Green Lanterns. As we know, the only thing to counteract their willpower is the power of fear. And I like the short shot that we have of Sinestro here in the trailer. It's a real quick blink and you miss it, but it seems that Hal is visiting him somewhere on some planet, likely a prison planet that he is keeping Sinestro on. If you guys don't know, Sinestro actually trained Hal at one point in time, and this is shortly before he ends up turning over to the power of yellow, which is fear, and he forms the Sinestro Corps. So this does kind of complete the argument of the ending of the last teaser. Like, there's a part where they're in the car, and John turns to him and says, you never really talked to the other Lanterns. And he has a moment where he said, I'm the only human, they're all aliens. And this kind of probably harkens back to the idea of why he is so untrusting of anyone in that regard. Like, I think people were missing that fact. Like, he really did trust Sinestro, and Sinestro betrayed him. He went against everything that the Green Lantern Corps was about and forming the Sinestro Corps. And you can see this kind of puts a chip on Hal's shoulder just a little bit of believing in anyone else taking on the ring and being skeptical about who is capable and who should have it. And it makes sense also when he mentions that he's the only human. At this time, I don't think that Guy Gardner was chosen yet. If you guys don't know, Guy was actually meant to be the very first Green Lantern. But I do believe after there was a death in his family, he just doesn't want anything to do with that power at that point in time. And the ring goes to Hal Jordan. We do get a quick shot of Guy Gardner here. I do remember they said he was supposed to be featured in this show. Quick shot here of Guy Gardner. You see that it's behind some bars, and it looks like that is John Stewart inside. There is a quick shot where he seems to be tortured by some people in the community who are likely aliens. And you see the kind of yellow energy that's in this gun that's pointed to his head, probably something that douses him with a certain level of fear. And this is probably what leads to him freaking out, which leads to him being in prison. And I'm pretty sure Guy Gardner comes to see, why are you in here? You got chosen as a lantern. You should be acting more better. And I'm not sure if Guy knows what John's reason is for being in this particular situation, but I'm excited to see how they respond. As a lot of people know, Guy Gardner is a bit of a douchebag, but you don't really have to be a good person to have the ring. You just have to have the right amount of will to harness that power. So it doesn't mean that you have to be a nice person. Just the fact that you're able to respect that power and use it wisely and use it accordingly, which is something funny considering the fact that in the very beginning of this teaser, we see Hal Jordan make $1, a counterfeit bill, which is very Hal Jordan of him. So they definitely got that right. But it goes to show a certain point where Hal is kind of skirting that line between what he's supposed to be doing with said power. How is he supposed to be responding with it? Is he supposed to be using it that way and using it in the negative attribute? Like with the ring, you can pretty much create anything. It's not like this thing where you can only create certain things. You can create almost anything that your imagination can come up with. And seeing how Hal is able to make such a perfect counterfeit bill that can bypass an electronic machine lets you know that he has been training in this for years. Now, at the very end of the trailer, you see that John is speaking to someone saying that he will be a better Green Lantern and do it better than Hal's ever done it. And someone tells him to go out there and get it. Now, this elderly lady, I do believe this is probably one of the Guardians speaking through her. And it makes me wonder if John was brought on by the Guardians to take the ring from Hal. I do believe that something happened to Hal, whether or not he was battling Sinestro or battling Parallax, that something infected his ring, and it may be causing him to do any kind of evil or disrespectful deeds with that power. And because Hal has made such a name for himself, the Guardians don't want to just strip it from him, because it will probably cause some conflict between the Guardians, and they don't want that, because Hal is one of the well-known members of the Green Lantern Corps. So it would make sense they would try to do it a different way. I do kind of wish that John would get his own ring, but you know what? It's okay. It doesn't matter to me. I like the idea of them passing on the mantle, and just because he gets the ring doesn't mean Hal Jordan is going to die. Hal has different stories where he could become a White Lantern, where he could actually be more infected with Parallax or maybe attacked by Sinestro. You have so many different things that you can do with this character still. I hope that they leave the character in to have different adventures. And I like that the show dances between the present day and the past, seeing how both of them dealt with their childhoods. We do get the shot of Hal at the funeral of his father. We do know that he was in the Air Force and his father did die during a testing of a new aircraft. And we see that this really affects him as a child, about fear and how he overcomes it. And we see that we also get a young John Stewart. It seems that he's sitting around the TV with his family, watching Hal on TV, and he also ends up enlisting in the Marine Corps. We also get a shot of his father asking, "Are you afraid?" And I like how the "Are you afraid?" is just completely centered around this teaser. How John manages to overcome fear and how it makes him worthy of the ring. I'm just super excited about this show, guys. There's so much potential here. As you know, John Stewart is slated to show up in Man of Tomorrow. I'm super excited to see how he adjusts to this power, how we see how he uses his constructs differently from Hal. And for everybody complaining about the green, there was a lot of green in this teaser, man. We see him using a construct of shield, making a construct of a dollar bill. He even makes a giant shield that protects the town from some kind of alien super weapon that shoots down on the planet. I'm glad that they're finally fixing all the naysayers, recognizing the things people didn't like. Like I said, I was already excited about this show, and this didn't do anything for me but amp me up just a little bit more. But all right, guys, let me know what you guys thought of the teaser. Are you excited for the show? Are you still on the fence? Do you feel like you've been let down by too many shows to really want to believe this show is going to be good? I'm letting you know right now, I'm not saying my hopes are extremely high, but they're definitely higher than most people's are. All I would say, before you guys start hating a show, give it a chance. Watch 1 or 2 episodes. Don't watch just 1 episode and say you hate it. Watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes, get a feel for it, and then formulate your opinion. Don't just hate it right off the bat because you feel like that's easier. But all right, guys, that was my review of this teaser trailer. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in the next one.